We are back on the charts for session 3, just after 11 o'clock, and we are hunting that elusive winning trade. How are they looking? The pound US dollar, that's been on a run, crossed over at 1:30 this morning, right in the middle of the cloud. There's been a couple of retracements as well, but if you clung on through that, you're reaping the gains right now. The Euro-Japanese yen currency pair in the middle of a massive cloud. Since 6:15 this morning, it has been stuck in there, every open and close inside the cloud. That's a big one. It should emerge from there in an hour or two. Meanwhile, the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, completely opposite. Not a cloud in sight, very narrow down there. And it's been enjoying this run, which actually it looks like we could have got in on by our strategy. That would have been the entry. It would have been the minimum 10 pips stop loss. And so we would have taken profit there, 10 pips, gone to about 20, and then retraced to, realistically, probably just about knock out our stop loss, the trading stop loss. But it would have been a winning trade. What could have been, at least we can see that they do exist. They do occur from time to time. No surprise, it does seem like we are a way away from a trade on any of these 3 charts. Let's have a look at the economic calendar. Quite a lot on today. Let's just hit the big ones. Unemployment rate in South Korea at 3.1% actual against 3.1% forecast. A lot of misses compared to the forecast on these Chinese numbers. Yearly figures, retail sales, industrial production, fixed asset investment, unemployment rate, all missing the mark, but only by a small amount. Shouldn't have a deep impact. Then 9 AM, Great British Pound, plenty of numbers coming out of there. PPI input month on month, 1%. PPI output month on month, 0.9%. Not ideal there. And a CPI print of 0.7%, but they won't be too pleased with that. It does come on top of a 1.1 previous. The Bank of England due to meet tomorrow and make an interest rate decision. Then 9:45, we had a CPI from France. Inflation, not as bad there, 0.4%. And even lower than when the number came out from Spain. Their CPI was 0.3% month on month. And finally, we also had the Italian inflation month on month number as well, which did buck that trend of decreasing numbers. They hit a 0.6%. That's it for the European numbers. So we have had everything out of Asia and Europe that we could expect to get. But there is still plenty of American numbers coming in, most of them at 3:30. Canadian CPI and manufacturing sales, the US dollar retail sales, core retail sales, the New York Fed Empire State Manufacturing Index, they're all 3:30. And then more US dollar numbers at 5 o'clock, retail inventories, business inventories, month on month. The big kahuna is at 9 o'clock though. I don't think we'll still be trading then. But if we are, that is a guaranteed volatility. The Fed Open Market Committee statement, the interest rate decision, economic projections, and Jerome Powell speaks at the press conference at 9:30. Big moment potential as they end their 2-day policy meeting. But with all that in mind, it could be a quiet morning volume-wise on the charts. And maybe once again, we're waiting until the afternoon United States volume push that will potentially get us into a trade at 6:45. See how it goes? Just gone 12 o'clock, no real change on the charts, but we are seeing on the pound US dollar, price has come off quite a bit from the top, down about 24-25 pips from the highs. Potential to see a crossover, and there's plenty of space in this region here. Get a crossover beneath and then maybe come back up after a retracement. As we come into 1 o'clock now, another hour on, we should see over on the pound US dollar, yeah, it does turn downwards as this high right up here, that leaves the Tenkan Sen, but remains with the Kijun Sen. Very exciting stuff. And on the Yuppie as well, price fully emerged through the cloud now, and it very much came out on the north side. Similar in all these currency pairs, there is room for retracement. Plenty of black background for the price to run into, but not get into the cloud area, and then retrace for the buy trade. But at the moment, it does feel as though we are missing the good moves, and that we will be left with the scraps at 6:45. As we're about to turn over 2 o'clock, we should see on the Great British Pound US dollar chart that this cross is confirmed, and yet, so now we've got the Tenkan Sen beneath the Kijun Sen. The Kijun Sen will still be using this high up here, so we'll either have to wait 10 or 15 periods for that to fall off, or try and see the Tenkan Sen make a high. If we could get above this price, that's what would get us in. Maybe we don't want that signal, but let's see what happens. Meanwhile, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, that is pushing to new highs. Doesn't seem to want to stop over there. Very strong for the Australian dollar and very weak for the Canadian dollar. Finally, Euro Yen just continues to range around in those highs. No closer for a signal. We'll stick it out. Just gone 3 o'clock and the push on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar is very real. Look at the run up. That's 0.2%. If we see it on the daily chart, yeah, that is a big move. 0.7% so far. On the 15-minute chart, you cannot even see the cloud. You would have to zoom out. There it is. Somehow I don't see us getting a trade on this chart today. And if you'd taken the trade here and you hadn't done a minimum stop loss but literally just trailed it with the Kijun Sen, you would still be in this now. You'd have enjoyed all of this move. And even if it dropped beneath the Kijun Sen now, that would still be about 34 pips to your favor. Nice move there. Shame we missed that. Otherwise, the pound US dollar, very rangy over there. That is reflected in the Kijun Sen and Tenkan Sen lines. Close together, not much going on between them. And the euro yen price just coming off the highs that it previously set around about 30 minutes or so ago. 10 to 4 now, and we are at peak volatility. Euro yen, that's stretching to new highs. It had come off there with a bit of a downward trend, but the last two periods moved up and up and up. As the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, that continues a relentless pursuit to the upside. It is not giving up at all. Any chance of a trade coming on the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, fair to say that is gone for the day. Would take something drastic to get us in on that chart. We have had some of those economic numbers from 3:30 come through. They haven't updated the CPI month on month here on MetaTrader, but I can tell you it is 0.3%, matches the forecast, so that is a down from the previous of 0.7. Not too bad. They have at least printed out the US numbers. Retail sales month on month, 0.3% actual against 0.1% forecast, exactly the same for the core retail sales. So it's a beat for those ones, and same for the New York Fed Empire State Manufacturing Index as well. Actual 31.9 against a forecast of 25.5 and a previous of 30.9. So pretty good numbers for them. Still, those results haven't been enough to push us into a trade. We will continue to wait and we will see how far this Australian dollar, Canadian dollar can go. 4:45 now, and we've just seen on the Great British Pound US dollar, price has absolutely smashed through the Kumo cloud. Didn't stop for a second, it went straight through there. So now if it remains on the other side, it'll be sell trades only for us, and that does seem like it'll be the case for a while if you see the cloud moves up there. So it'll take a big push if it wants to get back on the other side of it. And Australian dollar, Canadian dollar has seen price pull off of the highs over the last 15-20 minutes. Was right up there, but now we could see some of that momentum slow. Or maybe it's a retracement, it just wants to keep on going and going. Just after 5 o'clock and the drop has accelerated on all of these charts. You can see the pound US dollar still pushing down. We saw it smash through the cloud on the candle after last, but it went even further. No love for the pound against the dollar. Meanwhile, the euro yen made it a good way through the cloud last period. Again, it seemed like it was going to smash through, but actually retreated and now hovering right around in the middle of that Kumo cloud. And over on the Australian dollar, a lot of those gains that had come over the last 10 periods or so, it's given those up for the sake of this big red candle now. Looks like it might want to push green again, but with the weight that came down there, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go down more. 5:30, and on the euro Japanese yen, price is now back above the cloud. If we are going to get that downward crossover, when this high drops off for the Tenkan Sen, then we do need for it to occur beneath the cloud, not above it, not inside it. Beneath it. So that's 2 periods time. 6 o'clock we should see the drop off. Aussie caddy still retreating. What a ride up, only to come straight back down. We had those 5 o'clock US dollar numbers as well. Business inventories month on month, 1.2% against 0.7% forecast. That's a miss. They're holding too much stock. Retail inventories month on month as well, 0.1% actual against 0.1% forecast and a 0.1% previous. So they hit that one on the head. And the business inventories shouldn't be too worrisome. Still chance we'll get this euro Japanese yen trade. The other charts really can't see a trade coming through on either of those. Feels extremely unlikely now. The euro Japanese yen, our last hope of the day. There's the split of the Tenkan Sen and Kijun Sen on the euro Japanese yen pair just past 6 o'clock now. So what that means is that if price closes beneath the cloud, we will get a sell entry there. If it closes in the cloud or above it, no trade. It all comes down to the next 14 minutes, 15 seconds. And as the candle is about to close, it looks like we will not be getting the signal. No, it finishes just above the Kumo. So the crossover occurs, but price too uncertain around this area. We have missed out on it, so we won't get any signals today. Pretty unfortunate, but that does make it our best day of the strategy so far. And we will be trading it for one more session tomorrow. And if it doesn't look like we're going to get any trades on these charts, we will have a look at some of the other Forex currency pairs. See if we can pick up any trades on some of those. All it takes is one big trade to get us into the money. We did see the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. That had the potential from down there, all the way down there, that crossover. If you didn't get caught out in a retracement, that could take you a long way. One of those and we'll get it in the money. See what we can get tomorrow.